Hi everyone, and welcome back to Stitch and Thread. If you somehow stumbled upon this channel for the first time, my name is Anna. I'm a knitter based in the UK, and today I'm coming to you with yet another knitting podcast episode. This is episode number 15, I believe, of my knitting podcast, and I should say that this episode was long overdue. I have 3 finished projects to share with you, maybe the maximum I've ever had. All of them are garments, and all of them are summer garments. And I do have also a couple of works in progress to share with you, as well as some plans and even acquisitions, but I'll talk about it later. So let me start talking about my first finished project. My first project that I've completed, and in a record time, I think it took me about 3 weeks, was Shorty by Ventzel. It's a lovely feminine design by Ventzel, and I absolutely love her designs. And this one was on my radar for a while. It took me some time because I was after the exact yarn combo that the designer used. But finally, I was able to acquire both yarns and knitted this gorgeous top. So let me just show you. So here it is. It's a lovely design. So Shorty, you need top down. You start with the ribbon, which is just a regular cast on, nothing special. I do have twisted rib here, but then I think one of the most challenging aspects of this top was these lovely shoulder details, just quite a lot of increases, but I managed that. I actually watched a specific video by Tash. It's another Australian podcaster. Very big thanks to her for that. And I believe also another quite challenging part was to create the shoulder caps. So let me just continue. After you do the increases, you actually split. You need a front panel and back panel then separately, and they are of different length to achieve the right fit. Then after that, under the arm, you again need in the round. After that, you create the shoulder caps, and you have here quite an interesting way. And Ventzel decided on that. It took me some time to understand, but basically you have a lot of short rows in specific place, I guess, to create the right fit, and the shoulder cap should be in the right place again for a perfect fit. It was really nice. Was interesting. I've never done anything like that. I really enjoyed it. The only couple of modifications I did to this pattern is that I saw that on lots of Ravelry pages, people had issues with armhole depth being too narrow. I personally didn't seem to have this issue, but what I decided to diminish the possibility of that is I knitted 4 more rows than specified in the design for my size, which is size 1 I've knitted. I knitted 4 more rows on the front and on the back to kind of try to increase the depth. I don't know if I needed to do that or not, but that's what I did, and I'm quite happy with the result, to be honest. And the second modification, I just knitted this top 2 centimeters less than the pattern recommends. But again, I am a 1 meter 54 centimeters tall, so very short torso anyway, and I probably can do it anytime with any pattern anyway. That's it really. Or what else to say? Let's speak about yarn. As I just said, I was after the specific combo. So this top is knitted in Trio 2 and Alpaca 1, both by Isager. All the information will be in the description below. So if I forget to say something, please look there. I usually keep quite a good account on Ravelry, and I put everything in the description. Also, when I needed the swatch for this top, I didn't hit gauge with the recommended yarn, which is quite normal for me with Ventzel. I hit about 23, 24 stitches per 10 centimeters, while I needed to hit about 22. So I think it was not on 3mm needles, which was suggested. So I thought about it. I didn't do swatch on 3.5mm needles because I thought that even the smallest size for me was a bit too kind of oversized, I felt. So I wanted it to be oversized, but not too much. So what I did, I increased to 3.25mm needles. And when I needed flat, I don't think you can see, but in flat sections, I actually took advantage of using my interchangeable needle set, and I used 325mm for my knit rows and 3mm on my pearl rows, because my pearls are usually a bit bigger. So I was a bit scared if I might be able to see the difference in between the flat and in the round sections, but honestly, I don't. Tell me if you do. I don't. And again, if you're planning to knit with this combo, I'm a big metal girly. I love metal needles, and I would choose them over everything most of the time. But for this specific combination of Trio 2, I assume it's Trio 2 is the one which was super slippery. I even knitting swatch, I actually at that point already realized I need to use wooden needles. So I used my C-knit interchangeable. I had like a small set, but luckily it was enough for me. And yes, highly recommend for this specific project wooden needles. Just for someone who likes, who likes stitches to slide, this was way too much. I was just losing stitches like crazy. Yeah, but in any case, it is just 4-row lace repeat, very, very easy. I quite quickly remembered this repeat. I can't see a single, to be honest, mistake. I was a bit surprised about that. But yeah, it worked really, really well. And I'm over the moon with the result as well. So this is my first finished project. The next project, and the one maybe I should have started with straight away because it's an elephant in the room, is the Camisole number 9 by my favorite things, knitwear. So this top I showed in my previous podcast, and I think last time I actually finished the whole body up to the hem, and I did the hem, I believe, as well. So I thought at that stage that on the decorations left just a little bit, but it turned out not the case. And while I found the knitting of the actual top a very straightforward, very quick experience, even though again on 3mm needles, but I was absolutely fine. However, doing the decorations, I procrastinated a lot. I'm someone who doesn't mind knitting on like smaller needles, but it was really finicky to do these armhole edges as well as neckline. I think it took me longer to do them than to knit the actual top, just so you understand. So I needed size 1, but I did a couple of modifications. Even smaller size was a bit too big for me. So I kind of, when I joined in the armhole and I started knitting, I realized it's just too baggy because this top requires about 10 centimeters of negative ease. So I retrieved back and decided to remove, I believe, 8 stitches on each side, which sounds like quite a lot, but because the stitches are quite small, probably is not the case. But I feel that now it has the right amount of positive ease for this top. And I'm actually very happy with that change myself. As for the armhole and neckline decorations, as I call them, the edgings, they are supposed to be made on 2mm needles, and I'd realized quite later on that I simply do not own 2mm needles. The only ones I do own are DPNs, and they wouldn't work for this top. And I wasn't inclined to buy specific set for this top because I feel 2mm needles is not something that I would use quite often, at least. So I decided against it, but I realized that I own 2.25mm needles in my Chagu shorties, which I purchased specifically for socks, for sock knitting, if I can knit in the round. And I had a couple of cables as well as cable connectors, so I could connect 2 small cables and actually knit with that. That worked very well, but obviously this is 225 instead of 3mm. It took me some time, and let me just explain why this is not a small job. So when I finished knitting the top, so without the neckline and armhole edges, I weighed my top and it was exactly 99 grams. So like, okay. So after I knitted these edges, I checked again and I've used another 27 grams on that. So basically a quarter of the top. So you need these edges and you kind of fold them over, so it's kind of double the amount that you obviously don't see the other side. So it took quite a lot of time, quite a lot of effort. I really like the finishing. I kind of took even longer to do this finish. Let me just show you closer. It's absolutely beautiful, but again, it took me forever. And one thing I kind of took advantage of is that I knitted this top in West Yorkshire Spinners Exquisite Lace, which is 80% wool and 20% mulberry silk, but this is lace weight, which is why I was holding two strands together. And when I needed to kind of sew these on, I could use only one strand, which kind of removed the bulk a little bit. And I thought that's very clever of me to do that, but I understand and most people wouldn't be able to do it. But I think it kind of helped it to look as neat as possible. Also, once I finished with the neckline and I thought like everything is done, I tried it on again and I realized that I'm not happy with the hem. So let me see if I can show you. So the hem here is also kind of folded and you also need to sew it down. And I felt where I was doing it, it was just too tight. So what I decided to do is to unravel it and again to employ the same idea from my from my armhole edges. I weaved in the end of one strand of my yarn and just with the lace weight, again to try to remove the bulk because you have quite a lot of bulk over here. I decided to try to remove it and again I think it worked. I was trying to be much looser this time and yeah, I'm quite pleased with the result, but if you asked me at the time when I was doing all of these edges, I think I would probably tell you other story because I wasn't particularly happy. I wasn't in a good place. It's like it's easy to knit this top. I like the look of it, but whether I would like to go again through these sort of decorative details, I'm not sure, honestly. Okay, once it's done, I'm in love, honestly. I really like this piece. I think it fits me very well. Let me just show you the back as well. See, it fits me very well. The only thing is you should probably use, like I'm using now, a racer back bra. With a normal bra, I'm sure you will see straps here. And even like my racer back, you see, it's not far. It's not far at all. And personally, if if I to knit this top again, I would probably like maybe 2-3 more stitches, at least like 3 more stitches to increase in width here, just to make sure my bra strap is covered. But it's just me. I prefer not to see bra straps. If you don't mind, maybe it doesn't matter. But yeah, this is one thing I would actually change probably in this top. In previous podcast, I believe I was also telling you that maybe I would need to remove some length from my straps here. So like I felt the armhole depth was too big, so that it might not work. And I was seriously considering that. But I did the neckline, I put it on again, and I was thinking that maybe if you stretch it, I might not need to do it because it just stretches quite a bit. And I was right. Even with my height, I feel my armhole depth is just perfect, honestly. So I'm very happy that I didn't remove any length because I probably wouldn't want kind of, I would like a bit more space in my armhole with this, especially with this yarn as well. And this is something that I'm undecided about. I really like this top, absolutely true. I think the designer is really clever to design something like this. Yes, you do need to spend time in making it presentable, shall we say, but you really get a great garment at the end of it. But this garment requires elastic, I feel at least. It requires like elastic yarn, something that can stretch. And while it's great, this is camisole, so you would want to wear it in summertime. Here in the UK, on a cool day, it could be nice wearing, like cool windy day, it could be nice wearing something like this, maybe with like a jeans coat on top, or just something. And on a cooler day, yeah, so you would have wool to still keep you warm, but you don't want any sweaters on top. So I can see possibly the use of it, but equally, I quite like wearing the summer camisoles, right? And I would love to knit this top, say, in silk. I think silk might work very well, but silk is not elastic, and I'm not sure how well I could do with silk. Say I wouldn't remove any stitches, so it would be less negative ease. It might work, I think, but I haven't decided if I should go that way. But honestly, I'm really considering knitting this top again, but in like a summer yarn. If you've tried something like this or you have any recommendations, please let me know, because it's something I haven't decided on. Obviously, it's not going to happen this year, but I can prepare for the next, because I really like the piece. Now, the last finished project I have for you is yet another camisole, and also green. I'm sorry. Here you go. Oh, the wrong side. So this is Palma top by Pernille Larsen, which is the designer behind Knitting for Olive brand. And this is actually knitted in Knitting for Olive pure silk. And if you're a regular viewer, you might recognize this color, the P-Shorts color. Last year, I've knitted my Milady's dress in this yarn. So I had 2 balls remaining, and I decided to utilize them by knitting something. I was planning to knit a different top. I think it was a Cecil top by Susan Müller. But in the end, I decided to knit something else and decided to do this kind of textured top instead. And in comparison with this camisole, you see how this is like very fitted, while this is like has a lot of drape. It's beautiful, and it's, if you really would like a summer yarn, I realize silk is great for summer. I'm indecisive whether I like a bread silk, in the sense that it obviously very matted. It looks very much like cotton, but it feels on skin amazing. So if like tactile experience is important for you, I would highly recommend it. I really like, and again, I finished this top maybe a week ago, but it was really hot, and I've already kind of needed to wash it again. So I used it already a few times. And it's amazing. I really like, I think, wearing silk in summer. In comparison to this top, this I can wear on hot summer days. I shouldn't be scared. I wouldn't be scared that I get overheated. It's stunning. But let me get back to actual details. So I've knitted size 1 for this top. Again, used 3mm needles. I was able to knit with pure silk, with this silk in metal needles. I think some people say it's slippery. I was fine with that. I mean, I guess I could have used wooden if I wanted, and I believe my Milady's dress actually was knitted in wooden, but I personally don't feel like you have to. So the interesting thing about this top is that you knit it from the bottom up. Yeah, from here. So you just kind of go round and round and round all the way until you need to start doing the V-neck, and I think after that comes armhole shaping, at what point you basically need 4 pieces separately. Let me talk about pattern first. It's my first pattern from Pernille Larsen. I'm kind of indecisive about this. I didn't find any issues with the pattern itself, so it was understandable. There were a couple of times where I got stumbled, but I felt it was a little bit overwhelming at times. There was lots of numbers. I think she was going quite a lot about, like, this section was a bit overwhelming. I had to pay attention quite a lot. So I felt it was a bit bulky, I think. Again, it wasn't too keen, I guess, on pattern writing, but as I said, there are no mistakes in pattern itself. So, you know, take it as you as you will. I didn't hit gauge with this pattern at all, and I was considering what I should do about it, but I decided that I like 3mm needles, which was suggested for this pattern, and I knitted my lady's dress also in 3mm. I felt like I really like how this yarn behaves on that needle size. So because of that, instead of using size 2, because a lot of sizes, that's actually the advantage, there were a lot of sizes for this top. So I was, surprisingly, probably for the first time, I needed to knit size 2 rather than size 1, but because of my gauge issues, I actually needed to knit size 1 again. Very odd, but it is what it is. And I'm actually quite happy with the result. Surprisingly, because I'm very apprehensive about knitting bottom up, but the result is stunning. I've used 90 grams, so I told you I had just a bit of 2 balls of the yarn, so I used 90 grams apparently for this top, and I still, I think, have like 20 grams left. So I guess if I really need to, I can make it longer if I so desire. But to be honest, I think it's perfect length as per pattern. I really like this kind of V-section. Possibly, again, maybe just me and the straps. I would prefer maybe slightly, like maybe half a centimeter wider straps. But again, that's just my personal preference. And if you probably can see a lot more. Can you see here the line? So I did make a mistake in the pattern repeat once, and only found out much later, somewhere when I already split it for the V-neck, and I thought about going back and fixing it, and then decided against it. This is basically a 4-row repeat, and I feel that patterns like this knit and purl patterns work really well for silk, allow it to shine, at least for mulberry silk. Maybe not so much for this, but in general, I think it works very well. And I was thinking that once I'm wearing it, no one can see it. To be honest, I think you can see a lot more while I'm holding it like that. And when I was wearing it, I was trying to look at myself in the mirror. I think with the, I guess with the breasts and all, it's in the place where you kind of don't see it very well. I mean, I will input again the video for you to see, but yeah, I see it a lot more actually now on camera than in real life. But it is there, so I do have a mistake in this top. It is what it is, I guess, but still really like it. And I think this top being summer yarn will be used a lot. I already can see that. Okay, now with the finished projects out of the way, let's talk about what's on my needles. And this is actually quite a surprising cast on for me. Until recently, I wasn't planning on that cast on at all, but somehow it happened. I found out that My Favorite Things knitwear released yet another pattern, which was a dress number 1 by My Favorite Things knitwear, obviously. And I was always fascinated by the construction that My Favorite Things knitwear used for her blouse, I believe number 1. I think it was number 1. It was just the same kind of look, but never got around to knitting that one. And when I saw the dress, I was like, ooh, it could be interesting. And obviously, I've knitted a dress last year, and I thought maybe this could be, you know, a one dress a year that I need. So I looked at it and I was browsing through my stash, and I found out that I actually have the exact right amount of a DK, I believe, yarn. I have a cotton yarn which is called Drops Muscat. If you ever use Drops yarn, you might know it. This is 100% cotton, is mercerized cotton, so it's a bit of shine to it, and 100 meters in 50 grams. I must admit, I've knitted last year with this very yarn. I've made a top with that in different color, and while after I finished the top, I remember thinking, never again, I will not use this yarn again. It was really painful on my hands, and I still stand by it. I was just gonna browse and thinking if I should take this yarn to my knitting group, which is basically this stash. But then I thought, okay, I'll give it a try a year later, because I had exactly the right amount. I thought that would be perfect to try for this dress, because it's again the construction method I wanted to try. If the dress for some reason doesn't work out, I still would have learned something from it. So these were my thoughts, and that's why I decided to give it a try. So dress number one is kind of work top down. First, the neckline is shaped with using short rows, and then the yoke and sleeve caps, and then you just basically knit the body. I've knitted quite a bit, so let me try and show it to you right here. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see the dress, I've already knitted the yoke, actually the body, and I started actually now increases for the hips already. I'm sorry if it's a bit loud with my needles, but I didn't really want to remove them. So I also had like 6 balls in one dye load and 2 in the other, so I decided to start knitting the sleeve in a different dye load. Personally, I don't see the difference. You can tell me if you do. I don't see difference in color, but just in case I wanted to do that. And yeah, so that's what it is. Again, I quite enjoy doing this kind of contiguous shoulder cap. We'll see what's going to turn out. As I say, I don't really know now. I'm knitting size 1, and I'm knitting, I believe, I don't know if this is recommended needles, but it's 4.5 millimeter needles. One thing I did that I tried to diminish the strain on my hands using this yarn is that when knitting in the round, again using interchangeable needle sets, because you can decide which size needles you have. I'm sure most of you would know about it anyway, but I use the required needle for my, as my right needle in my right hand, and I use, so it's which is 4.5, and in my left hand it is 4 millimeter needle. So that allows the stitches to slide more easily, because I always felt the strain, because I always seem to be pushing the stitches forward. It's just quite hard. I mean, this is quite difficult yarn to work with for me. I mean, I went to my knitting group and there was another lady and she absolutely loves working with this yarn. So we're all individual, and obviously she was absolutely fine, but I'm struggling with this yarn, I must admit. And even so, I still do not work for hours on this. Not something I would want to. But even with that, as you can see, it was quite a lot of progress. I think after knitting for a couple of months on 3 millimeter needles, 4.5 feels like it's easy breezy. So quite a lot of progress. And I think by next podcast, I should be able to complete it. So the next project is very dear to my heart. I wanted so badly to start working on it that even 30-degree heat outside didn't stop me working with Mohair. So it must tell you something. So what I'm knitting is a sook sweater by aegyoknit. And let me just show you. There you go. So sook sweater is a sweater with, as you can see, raglan increases, knitted in 2 strands of yarn, of different yarn. One is Mohair, one is, I guess, whatever you want. I can't believe what she had, maybe just a regular gepard yarn, like wild and soft, so like just regular merino yarn. But what I'm using here is a strand of Mohair from Isager, as well as Japanese cotton by Isager. The yarn I fell in love with when I visited Denmark earlier this year. I really wanted to work with it. I tried like a sweater on with this yarn and Mohair, and it was such a delightful experience. So really, really badly wanted to work with this yarn, and yeah, that's what I'm doing. I hope it doesn't wash me out too much, because obviously I'm very pale, but I think it should be okay. So as you can see, I've already split it for sleeves and the body, and now it's just knit in the round. One thing to say, despite the fact that I love this yarn, I find it very difficult to unravel it with Mohair, at least. Mohair sticks to it like crazy, honestly. I mean, sometimes I know it's difficult to unravel even like a normal merino from Mohair. It is, but this is difficult. While I'm knitting this top, I'm praying that I would need to frog it. I didn't need it to frog maybe a couple of rows. I made a mistake in the pattern, as you can see. There's a small pattern here, but yeah, I didn't enjoy that experience, honestly. So I just think that maybe for this cotton yarn especially, you shouldn't really play too much around, because it will be really hard to unravel. And speaking of the pattern, what you do is that you knit few rows with both yarns together, and then you have a couple of rows where you just knit with mohair only, which creates this sort of stripy kind of look. I saw a lot of projects on Ravelry in black yarn, which is, I guess, very classic and very nice looking, but I was looking for something else, so that's why I have this lovely, I don't know, every time I look at this project I'm thinking of the sea, maybe with the ocean and waves. So I have no idea why, honestly, but this is how I feel. And yeah, again, using 4.5mm needles, knitting size 1, and yeah, just following the pattern. To be honest, this is my first aegyoknit pattern. Generally it's written okay, but a couple of times when I felt that the instructions lacked the precision, I think, but this is quite a simple pattern, so I think it should be okay. So even the beginner knitter should be fine with this if you want to. And I think like raglan increases are quite easy to work with, and then you just knit it around as long as you remember the patterns when you have to knit together, knit separately with mohair. I think it should be absolutely fine. But this is a project which is very dear to my heart, and despite it's probably going to be again plus 30 degrees, I think I'll continue working on it. I'm in love. And now we are slowly transitioning into my plans and acquisition section. And speaking of acquisitions, I've just recently posted a video about me going on a yarn ban for the next 6 months. So if it's something that interests you, feel free. I'd like to create like a group, maybe on Instagram, where we can support each other. I think it's been 2-3 weeks now since I put myself on this yarn ban. I wouldn't say it was easy, but at the same time, I think it was the right thing to do for myself. I feel sometimes when I look at these beautiful yarns, I can't do it because I'm on a yarn ban. But in any case, it didn't stop me, surprisingly, from acquiring more yarn. And this is quite different, though. The knitting group I'm going to usually, there is one person there who's a hand dyer, and she dyes yarn. And every now and again, she needs someone to knit samples for in her yarn for the upcoming shows that she participating in. And she had another call, and a lot of people in my group they wanted to help, and so did I. Because of that, I acquired more yarn, I'm afraid, even though it's not mine and I didn't purchase it. This is the yarn I acquired. I mean, it looks really similar to my top, but honestly, I didn't know the color I would be knitting with. So when I saw it, I almost loved. I love this green color as well. I think this one is slightly the bluish kind of tint to it, while this is like proper emerald green, but still beautiful yarn. So the hand dye is the little gray girl, and this color calls base tone, which is high twist decay yarn, 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. I'm not the person who normally knits with superwash yarn, but anyway, it is what it is. I decided to try something else, and this is my first time ever knitting like a sample, so I feel a little bit overwhelmed in that. So far, let me actually tell you what I will be making. And I will be making a Hiesu sweater by Vera Välimäki. I mean, I believe it's a foreign designer. I hope I didn't butcher someone's name. So I knitted so far just a swatch, so I haven't started knitting the actual sweater. As you can see, just you just knit from the top down. It's more like a t-shirty looking thing, and I already kind of hit my first block. So I needed a swatch, as you can see. Let me just show you. You're supposed to knit it on 5mm needles, and at the bottom I knit it on 5mm needles as per pattern. But then when I was knitting, I felt it's a little bit like open for myself, for my own liking, and I decided to continue with 4.5mm needles. And it's interesting when you knit, yeah, you kind of sometimes feel how you would like yarn to behave. So I felt like on 4.5 would be perfect, because I felt it's less gapey. I could achieve my more neater stitches, not too open. So honestly, if it was for myself, I would be knitting using 4.5mm needles. So I messaged the girl asking how does she feel, what does she think, because obviously it's not for myself. And yeah, she kind of was also feeling that possibly 4.5 is even better, but at the same time, as it's a sample knit, she wasn't willing to change the needle size, because sometimes people see the sweater and they would like to knit the same thing, and if you change something on modify and use different needles, it might look different to what you saw in a sample. So she told me to stick with the original 5mm, and yes, that's what I'm going to do. I hope she'll like it when I finish it. But yeah, still work, kind of not in progress just yet, but at least I know how to move on. That's it for today, I believe. I think I've achieved quite a lot in quite a busy month. I didn't have time to even sit down to make this video for a while. You know, my children get ill, a lot of different things going on in summer, school time, and we seem to be moving in a couple of months as well. So all very busy, all a bit hectic, to be honest. So I don't know how many times I can shoot in this location. Hopefully at least one more time. But thank you for sticking around, and if you like this video, please consider subscribing and like this video. It would help me with YouTube algorithm for other people to find this video as well. Also, if you're on Instagram and you would like to see more regular updates, I post there as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy your knitting at least as much as I do at the moment, despite the lack of time and a lot of commitments. I hope life is treating you well, and I hope as well that you have great weather outside wherever you are. Have a great day, and bye.